this is probably my favorite arc of the Naruto series because we have so much character development in this. We have stakes, we have deaths, we have everything you could ask for in a story. So let's just get right into it. This is my review of the Akatsuki Suppression Arc. So, like I said in the intro, this is probably my favorite arc of the entire series. At least one of them. There's another arc that'll come later on that, to me, is very endearing, very good, and awesome. But a quick rundown of the Akatsuki Suppression Arc, as I've seen it be called multiple times. There's also people that just call it the Hidan and Kakusu arc, mainly because those are the two members of the Akatsuki that we focus on. So, here we have those two members of the Akatsuki. They catch the Two Tails, and they're on their way to the Land of Fire. They take care of Jinchuriki, who was Asuma's friend. We saw him in the last filler arc that we watched. So he's dead now, and they take him to a bounty store, collect his bounty, and yeah, so we have a bunch of teams of Leaf Ninja going out to find these two. Turns out Team Asuma finds him. That's Asuma, Shikamaru, and the other two that I always forget what their names are, but they're the ones that are usually you can see them like at the beginning, at the entrance of the Leaf Village. So yeah, they're the first ones to get to them. They start fighting Hidan and Kakusu, and Hidan kills Asuma. Asuma dies, and Ino and Choji get there. They have a nice heartfelt moment, and then there's a funeral. Shikamaru has some character development, and then they go after Hidan and Kakuzu after all of the funeral stuff is done. Now, in the meantime, Naruto is back training to complete his new jutsu involving the Rasengan and the the wind style. I say water style because there was a waterfall that he had to cut open with his chakra. So Naruto ends up completing the jutsu. He uses it on Kakuzu. You can count this as Naruto killing two people because when we get to that later on, Kakuzu has multiple hearts and has to be killed multiple freaking times. That's right, these two members of the Akatsuki, who are probably my favorite team, like my favorite team of the Akatsuki. They're the immortal team. Hidan has some weird jutsu where he's immortal. We don't get too much into it. I'm sure there's like some wiki pages or all that go into Hidan's powers. And then Kakuzu, he just takes people's hearts and uses them as their own, using their chakras to use like lightning style, wind style, fire style, all that. So yeah, good guys win. Awesome, blossom, great. That's just a quick rundown of everything. So let's just get started with 5 things I didn't like about this arc. So off the bat, I'm just going to say this right now. I really don't have too many problems with this arc. As I was kind of writing my notes down, trying to see what things I really didn't like about the arc, I realized there wasn't a lot. And I had to get really, really like nitpicky on everything. So this section is probably going to be really quick. So the first thing I want to say is there's a little bit of wonkiness with the time. Just not like pacing sort of say, but just the time frame of everything happening. So we have Hidan and Kakuzu. They have the Two Tails, and they give that to Zetsu to put into a cave or whatever. And then some time passes, they attack Jinchuriki, take him to the bounty office, fight Asuma and that team, and then they leave to seal the Two Tails. Now, we saw this in the previous arc, and maybe the Akatsuki just kind of learned from this, from when Deidara just took the Kazekage Gaara. They were followed to their hideout. So I guess this is their way of just getting the Jinchuriki away by using a different member of the Akatsuki. So then I think they were gone for like 2 or 3 days doing all that. But that's not the timing I'm thinking about. The timing I'm thinking about is the timing of when Shikamaru's group, so Team 10, between them leaving with Kakashi to fight Hidan and Kakusu, the timing of that, and Naruto completing the Rasen Shuriken and meeting up with them. Because Naruto and his team weren't supposed to be put out until, like, he had 24 hours to finish his jutsu. Great. You're saying that Naruto, and I know Sakura and Sai did go to Naruto. They were in full gear, like ready to go. Checking in on him. Last we saw him before the big fight. And him and Yamato are just kind of going over a new strategy. But, so you're saying that Naruto immediately finished his training and went. Or how much time really went by? I really don't know. And I kind of wish I did, but again, I'm getting like super nitpicky with the things I didn't like about this arc. And one quick thing I'll say, like, also regarding, I guess, timing, basically the arc fell short. Like, I know they extended a lot from the manga and all that, but even then, it really fell short. Like, it went by really quick. I guess mainly because there's a lot of action. There's not a lot of setup going on, like you see in these filler arcs and these later arcs. Like, that, to me, that's why the filler arcs are so slow, is because they have to set up a lot for their arc, and you're just waiting for all the action to go. Whereas with the canon material, it goes by so fast, it feels like it barely even happened. Like, I literally binged this arc in one day. Whereas with these filler arcs, I'm taking a long time to finish. And that's mainly due to the material that's covered in these filler arcs. But again, timing-wise, I guess it just, to me, it fell a little short. Alright, so the third thing that I kind of didn't like about this arc, again, super nitpicky, I wish we had a little bit more of Ino and Choji. I know we got Choji, like, charging in against Kakuzu and fighting and all that. We got a little bit more of him. We got Ino doing some stuff. But I just kind of wish we got a little bit more. Like, don't get me wrong, again, they did what they needed to do. That's great. That's awesome. But, I don't know, I could have used a little bit more. I mean, literally, when Asuma's dying, most of his words are towards Shikamaru, because Shikamaru is basically the star of this arc, you know. So he gets most of the shine, which is great and all. But maybe just a little bit more Ino Choji. Like, literally, Asuma's last words to Ino was just, don't lose to Sakura, especially in love, because, you know, Kishimoto doesn't know how to write female characters to not want a boy. And Choji, you know, maybe you could lose a little bit of weight, but Shikamaru, the king, like, I could have used a little bit more than that for Ino and Choji. Okay, so another nitpick, and it's just one simple scene. It's where Sakura... Okay, so during Naruto's training, Sakura is making, like, these medicine pills for him. These food pills for him, so he can have the energy to do what he can, to be better, to train more, all that stuff, to have that energy. And we also find out that Sakura is a really bad cook. So, another check under the Sakura is useless list. But here's another check for that Sakura is useless list. So, we have Sai, who just literally joined the team. Just joined the team. Barely been on any missions on them. Maybe hung out with them a few times, but barely any missions with them. And Sai has to be the one to remind Sakura of who Naruto is and what he is and how he never gives up. I'm sorry, Sai, who literally just joined your team, knows how to believe more in Naruto than you do, Sakura? Than you do. Oh, okay. You've known Naruto longer. You know Naruto, and he doesn't give up. You know he's obsessed with Sasuke and getting him back because of you. And you have the audacity to just not believe in Naruto? Really? It takes Sai lying about Naruto being like, yeah, maybe he is just a piece of shit. It takes that to get you riled up and remember what Naruto is and who he is. How fucking dare you, Sakura? How dare you? I know I'm cussing on YouTube, but how fucking dare you? How dare you? It takes somebody that just met Naruto maybe a couple weeks ago. He knows him better than you do. He doesn't need a reminder that Naruto never gives up, that Naruto is something big. No, Sai doesn't need that, and I don't even like Sai. I don't like Sai, and I am defending him here. How dare you, Sakura? This isn't even close to a Sakura rant that I have in store for later on in the series. Oh no, I can't wait for that moment when I get to go on that rant, because that will be the number one thing I hate in that arc. But we're not talking about that arc right now. We're talking about my favorite arc of the whole series. And then the last little thing that I didn't really like about this arc, again, I'm being nitpicky here, but the last thing I didn't really like is that people were just kind of standing around when Hidan was doing this ritual thing. I mean, I understand that they were all dumbfounded by him being immortal. I understand that. But somebody like Shikamaru, he's seeing him do this ritual, write this stuff on the ground, and you're not going to do anything about it? Like, Kakuzu wasn't even in the middle of fighting them. He was just letting them do what they wanted. He wasn't doing anything. He wasn't getting in the way. He was just standing there. But you're going to just stand there while Hidan does this? And I know this is just the shonen thing of, you know, oh, they're transforming. Why can't they just attack while they're transforming? You know, we saw what happens when you do. We saw that in Dragon Ball Super when, what's his face? Android 8. I almost said 18. Oh my gosh. Crucify me. Android 17. When he attacked Ribrianne, when she was transforming. So we saw what happens when you actually do that. But yeah, why? These are the Akatsuki. Attack them. Destroy them before they can finish this stupid thing. This stupid little circle thing. Stop it. Why not stop it? Stop it. Just go in there. Especially you, Shikamaru. I mean, well, I guess with Shikamaru, he likes to analyze things and just work based off that. That's fine. I can understand Shikamaru maybe, but being a little cautious with that. But come on. Just attack. Come on. But I'm done being negative about one of my favorite arcs. Let's get to all the positives. Where to even begin with this section? Where to begin? I will begin with one thing. One thing that people don't really talk about with this arc. And it's like an episode. Yeah, it's roughly about an episode where we get Kakashi going in against Hidan and Kakuzu. Kakashi's one of the top players in this arc. Like, he puts in some work. Because he uses Lightning Blade on Kakuzu, basically killing one of his hearts. Great, awesome, good job on you, Kakashi. And then he does some hand-to-hand fighting with Hidan as well, which is actually animated very nicely. Especially when they're doing like these double team attacks on Kakashi. Yeah, Kakashi puts in some work, gets some nice animated fights. Yeah, I mean, it's just something that I don't really hear a lot of people talking about. I don't know why that is, but talk about it more, guys. I mean, it's actually really cool because you don't really see too often these nice hand-to-hand fights, especially later on in the series. So it's just nice to see that kind of down to earth fighting style with these people. Now, granted, Kakuzu does use some very strong jutsu in this fight, which Kakashi's able to like dodge and at least trick them into not working against him, especially with like some substitutions and all that. But yeah, not a lot of people talk about it, which is very curious to me. It's a nice look on just Kakashi at a technical level. I know there's other instances of Kakashi doing more techniques and like being more technical, but honestly, this one's up there for Kakashi. Nope. All right, so one of the bigger moments in this arc, which is done very well, is Asuma's death. Now in the manga, you don't see too much of Asuma. You see him in the one arc where Kakashi fights Itachi and he's holding off Kisame for a little bit. And then you just see him periodically, you know, basically as Team 10's captain. So you don't see too much of Asuma. He does a little bit with Naruto, teaching him about sharply and finely with the wind style jutsu. Yeah, and obviously that's another reason we had this past filler arc with the Guardian Shinobi 12, because we were just putting a little bit more background in with Asuma. So that way, when his death comes, it's very shitty. And I mean shitty as in a named character dies. And it's done really well, because he falls for Hidan's jutsu. Hidan does his, you know, ceremony and all that, kills Asuma, and yeah, he gives his final words on the building, on a rainy building, you know, telling Ino, don't lose to Sakura. Choji, you're strong, kind-hearted, maybe lose a little bit of weight and you'll be perfect. And then Shikamaru, hey, you're awesome, you're amazing. You can, he literally tells Shikamaru that he could become Hokage. And yeah, with Shikamaru's skills, he would be a great Hokage. But it's his personality that's going to hold him back. And Asuma even says that. He says, you know, yes, you would make a great Hokage, but knowing you, if it was offered to you, you wouldn't take it, because you would think the job is a total drag. So just be there for the people. He leans him in because we do have the conversation of the king. Who the king is for them in Shogi. And that was also a theme too in that filler arc before this, the Guardian Shinobi 12, about who the king actually was. We kind of find out who the king is for Asuma, basically his unborn child to Kurenai. But basically Shikamaru takes... Yeah, he basically takes that under his wing. He's just like, I'll continue your protection for the king. I will keep that going for you, and I will protect this child that's coming into this world from Kurenai Sensei. And yeah, and then we have this awesome funeral. Probably one of the best episodes of the whole series is the episode with Asuma's funeral, and I'll get more into that in another thing that I liked about the arc. But just the coloring of the episode is just so dark and depressing. And there's barely any music going on. But because you follow Shikamaru in this episode, and he's just walking around town. But you see all these kids just running around, laughing and giggling, just heightening up that moment where you find out, and you find out later on in the series what Asuma's king actually was. But to just see everything just kind of being, the seeds being planted of what Asuma's trying to protect as a ninja. Just seeing all these kids running around doing things, you know, being better, playing, you know, doing some charity work and all that. It really hits home to Asuma as a character and who he was as a person. So yeah, Asuma's death, as bad as it is to always see a character die, it was really good here seeing Asuma die. Another amazing thing about this arc was Hidan and Kakusu. Again, like I said earlier, they're probably my favorite duo of the Akatsuki. Mainly because they're immortal. Like, you gotta work around immortality. And the characters that fight these two actually work around that. Like Shikamaru, for example, he made a giant hole in the ground and blew Hidan to pieces. to pieces, buried him, and is just keeping watch over that hole for the rest of eternity. His family is watching that hole to make sure Hidan doesn't try to get out and roll away and get help to get himself back together. No. That's how you get around Hidan's immortality. I know, my chair is squeaky right now. I had to adjust. I'm sorry. But, yeah, so that's very smart on Shikamaru's part. And then you have Kakuzu, who he states in this fight against Kakashi, Ino, and Choji that he was around since the first Hokage. He had fought the first Hokage as well. So he's been alive at least 100 years. But it's going to be more than 100 years, so whatever. And he's only been surviving by taking people's hearts, thus using them as like these puppets to use like lightning style, earth style, wind, fire, water, all those, using the 5 elements of chakra. So that was also kind of a theme with this arc as well, was chakra natures, because, you know, we have Kakuzu with all 5 chakra natures. He fights Kakashi. Kakashi actually takes out one of the hearts because he notices that Kakuzu was using the earth style hand signs. So Kakashi, being as smart as he was, lightning style, weakness, all that. We also do get a little bit of an explanation too of the weaknesses and strengths of the chakra natures, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, Hidan and Kakuzu, and I love how they played off each other as well, because they both hate each other. They hate each other. They're basically polar opposites, because you have Kakuzu, who is the treasurer of the Akatsuki. He's trying to make money for them, so that way they can take over the world and all that. That's another thing too. We actually hear what the Akatsuki's plans are. So basically, since Kakuzu is the treasurer, making money and all that, the Akatsuki want to use that money to basically make their own ninja village, I guess you could say. Or I guess mercenary team would be the more accurate statement to say. So they're going to use that. They're going to use the power of the tailed beast to basically control the world through war. That's the Akatsuki's job. That's their mission. So, yeah, so you have Kakuzu, who just cares about money, making money for the Akatsuki and all that. And then you have Hidan, who's a very religious person. He has this god that he prays to, hence the whole ritual thing. And part of that is he can't leave people alive. If he's fighting somebody, they have to die. I think it's Jashin is the god he serves or whatever. But yeah, so they kind of conflict in that aspect, because Kakuzu, well, not Kakuzu, the Akatsuki need the tailed beast to be alive. And Hidan, when he fights, he needs to kill people or else he goes against his religion. So that might be why he's like a rogue ninja, but at the same time, he's killing people. I don't know. I'm sure it's in some other like separate book or wiki or whatever about what's going on with Hidan and his religion and why he's part of the Akatsuki, but I digress. But we do see more of just like their comedy with each other too. Like Kakuzu looks down on Hidan because he's an idiot. He kind of is an idiot. And they have these great double team attacks too. Since Hidan is invincible, immortal, he can basically take on a full brunt assault from Kakuzu. So we see this too with the fight against Kakashi, where Hidan's going in there, they're fighting like close fists, and he's about to strike him, and then one of the puppets that Kakuzu controls uses this huge wind blast right behind Hidan, just blowing both Hidan and Kakashi away with that attack. So yeah, great teamwork with that. And then we also do hear Kakuzu. It's when they're at the bounty place where they're turning in the bounty for Chiraku. The guy at the bounty office is just like, look, your friend is kind of a buzzkill. Why are you with him? You shouldn't be with him. And Kakuzu literally says, there is nobody else for me, because any partner I'm with, I kill. And I can't kill him, so I'm stuck with this guy. So yeah, Hidan and Kakusu are great together. My favorite duo of the Akatsuki. And yeah, I'm happy with what we saw of them in this arc, and the role that they played in the arc and in the story altogether. Alright, so the next good thing I want to talk about with this arc is Naruto. Naruto himself had great progression in this arc. Not just strength-wise with his training, learning the Rasen Shuriken, but a little bit of mental training as well. So he learns, obviously, the wind style, and he learns, you know, this is the strengths and weaknesses of the chakra nature. So, and he kind of has a sad moment here too, where he's just like, oh, so my wind style makes Sasuke's fire style stronger. Granted, it's more powerful than his lightning style, especially that Chidori you gotta watch out for. But yeah, not only that, but Naruto actually starts to learn how to use his shadow clones a lot better, because we find out that you can retain all the information and all the fatigue and basically anything that the clones do, you retain from that by closing the jutsu. And the fact he never noticed that before is kind of strange, but Naruto is kind of stupid in a way. So he probably didn't think about it. Luckily, he does have enough stamina to do the kind of training he was doing, because they even say it, like, it would take years for him to learn mastery of a chakra nature. Yet it only took him like a week or so to create the Rasen Shuriken, which, holy Jesus, that scene is epic. Yeah, because he basically says, like, he goes in for the Rasen Shuriken first, and it fails. When him, Yamato, Sakura, and Sai get there, Yamato tells Kakashi that it's basically a 50% chance that Naruto can use the jutsu. So, first time Naruto tries to use it against Kakuzu, it fails. It fails. He gets blown back, and yeah. Kakashi's trying to say, Kakashi, Ino, and Choji all say, hey, we need to have a different strategy, because you can't just go in there like that on him, Naruto. You need to think a little bit more. Let's work together on this. And Naruto literally tells Kakashi, no, let me handle this on my own. I need to do this. There's a bridge I need to cross, and this is the only way I can do it. So I commend Naruto for that. But on top of that, you know, he's using his shadow clones to ascertain the blind spot, or where he can hit and all that. So he ascertains how many clones he needs for the distraction in order for him to use the jutsu. Great. Awesome. That is progress for you, Naruto. Great. Good on you. And then he uses the Rasen Shuriken, which, again, holy Jesus, that is a strong technique. Literally blows him away, blows Kakuzu away, and like it's like these different needles just going into Kakuzu. Literally, we find out it attacks Kakuzu in a cellular level. On a cellular level. That's insane. And we're seeing like this blood just like not even just spurting out, just like forming like on Kakuzu's legs and arms and all that. And then we find out Naruto took out 2 of Kakuzu's hearts, because we see 2 of the masks break. So Kakuzu loses 2 out of the 3 hearts that he has already, just from one attack from Naruto. Now, we do find out the backlash of this jutsu, which is the same kind of damage was happening on Naruto. Obviously, yes, the stronger the jutsu, the stronger the backlash. And if he does it any more often, then he's going to lose chakra control in his arm. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that was fixed when he learned to throw it in Sage mode. If I'm not mistaken. Because, you know, he's using it almost all the time in Sage mode. Or using, you know, Ninetales mode later on in the series. using the chakra hands to throw the Rasen Shuriken. So I think he found a way around that with that, I think. Because, to my knowledge, again, I believe the damage was only happening to Naruto because he was literally just shoving it onto somebody. Not throwing it, so the damage wasn't happening there. But you literally had to shove it on somebody and push it forward. But yeah, Naruto had some great growth in here. And even Kakashi had a point, and this happens later on in the story too. He sees the image of the 4th Hokage right there with Naruto, standing where Naruto is. So, nice little foreshadowing there, but Naruto's growth is definitely high up there on the list for this arc. And the last thing I want to talk about, the last good thing I want to talk about from this arc is Shikamaru. Shikamaru is probably the best thing in this arc. Now, we've had times with Shikamaru before in the past, having his, not backstory, his growth as a ninja, as a leader. We're having that, we've had that shown before. The Sasuke retrieval arc, for example, is a good thing to talk about when regarding Shikamaru and his growth as a leader and as a person himself. But this arc really puts it into perspective because he loses somebody very close to him, and he's dealing with that grief. He's dealt with grief of failure before, but now failure to the terms of losing a comrade. And not only just a comrade, but someone he looked up to immensely. Now, those who read the manga in the past, especially the scans, this is the moment where Shikamaru started smoking. It's not shown too much in the anime or the newer mangas, but mainly because of censorship. But I remember clear as day, it was right after Asuma died. Shikamaru picks up the lighter and he picks up the pack of cigarettes and he lights one up, saying that he hated the smell, but he missed the smell and he needed the smell of Asuma around him. So we had seen scenes later on during this arc of Shikamaru just hanging out on a rooftop smoking because he missed Asuma and he missed having that scent near him. That's amazing. That's amazing storytelling right there. And then his breakdown, like the anime did such a great job of this. Like that episode I was talking about earlier where there's just like these pale colors. It's not so colorful, it's just pale and gray the whole time. Like he's dealing with the loss of his sensei, somebody that was so close to him. He starts playing shogi with his dad at night. And his dad's basically just getting it out of him. And then finally Shikamaru, something we don't see a lot of Shikamaru with, showing emotion. He just knocks the board away. And he's just like, what do you want from me? And his dad literally just says, just let it out. You've got to let it out so you can move on. And then we just see this awesome shot. I'm trying not to get emotional about it either because it's so well done. We just see this slow shot of Shikamaru's dad leaving the room. And then just Shikamaru just like slowly start to break down. The tears forming and then swelling and then coming down as he's about to scream. Dad shuts the door and you just hear this gut-wrenching just cry of emotion coming from Shikamaru. And that's pretty much where we leave that part, because then we just cut back to after he's grieving. He's just kind of laying on the floor there, looks over at the shogi board, and he's just like shogi board pieces. I can do this. So he puts the shogi board back and he starts putting the pieces everywhere, remembering all the information he had, forms a plan for him, Ino, and Choji, mind you. Forms a plan in order to defeat Hidan, defeat Kakusu, and avenge their sensei. Now, him and Ino and Choji go see Asuma's grave, say their farewells, about to leave. Tsunade stops him, Kakashi joins him, and then he creates another plan on top of that with Kakashi, adding Kakashi into that. I love Shikamaru's brain so much. That's what top tier character. But they have their fight, and he distracts Hidan. I'm trying not to fanboy so much. You know, he does his plan, gets Hidan away from there, gets him into these woods that his clan watches over. Because we see all these deer, because we know the Nara clan has something to do with deer and the antlers and all that. We learned that from when Tsunade came to the village and all that. So they're in this forest that Shikamaru pre-planned, because he had a hole right there. He had all these paper bombs ready to go. He had the blood capsule of Kakuzu, using that as instead of his own blood when Hidan went in for the attack. Hidan killing himself in order to kill Shikamaru, but it actually took out one of Kakuzu's hearts. Love it. Love Shikamaru. Then ties him up, and then he just flicks. Now, in the manga, it was a cigarette that he flicked at it, but in the anime, they changed it to the lighter. So he just flicks the lighter on, throws it, explosion, down, boom. Shikamaru, single-handedly, and I'm saying single-handedly, he single-handedly took out a member of the Akatsuki. He can say that with pride. He took out a member of the Akatsuki single-handed. And he got revenge for his sensei. Good on you, Shikamaru! And then, of course, he takes his sensei's will. That's another thing. Sorry, I'm kind of fanboying, going all over the place with this. But I love this. There's a moment in this where Shikamaru, he's looking down at the hole, just despondent, just like, whatever. Very savage at this moment. Hidan's cursing him non-stop. You better pray to my God. My God will not have mercy on you. And Shikamaru just looks down on him and says, I don't have to pray to no God. I'm your God now. And then just blows up the hole, fills it up. Mwah. Icing on the cake of Shikamaru in that arc. And as I was trying to say earlier, that's the moment where he just kind of takes his sensei's will, his version of the king, as you can say. And he's going to look after the kids that are the future of the Leaf Village. That is his king. That is what he protects. Takes that from his sensei Asuma. Close the book. Shikamaru. I'm not done with you yet, Shikamaru. You have a couple other moments too coming up in this series, but this is peak Shikamaru. This is peak Naruto right here. And I love every moment of it. So, overall, the final grade for this arc is an A. This is peak Naruto, especially Shippuden. But this is peak Naruto here. You have character development. You have great artwork. You have great, like, I've been watching this dubbed because I'm more keen to the dub voices than the sub voices. Even the dub is really good too. The dub does such a good job here. You know? What else? Character development, like all that stuff. Everything just comes together in a nice little present with a bow on it. And you're left just... It's somewhat bittersweet because, you know, Asuma's still dead and all that, but overall, this is a really great arc. And yeah, that's all I have to say about it. So let me know your thoughts on Hidan, Kakuzu, Shikamaru, all that. Let me know all that down in the comments below. Be sure to like the video if I entertained you in any way, shape, or form. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I have many other things on this channel. You know, I have my One Piece manga reviews every single week, my My Hero Academia manga reviews every single week, my live reactions to Attack on Titan chapters, which mine might be a little bit later this month. I don't know. We'll see when the chapter drops and all that. My weekly CBR crusade with Trevor and Ulti, going through CBR articles and all that. And obviously these arc reviews, anime reviews, and all that. I might start trying to do some more now that the season, like the summer season's coming up soon. So I might try to do a little bit more with that especially when that season ends. I might just stick to the ones that aren't like a season 2 or something. So we'll see, because there's a lot of like season 2s or 5s happening. We'll see with that. And obviously arc reviews of Naruto. I might have arc review of another series that I just randomly started rewatching last night. But we'll come to that road when we cross it, and that video might come out tomorrow or this weekend or something. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, subscribe to my channel. Look forward to all the other stuff that's coming out soon. That was a quick little news recap of what's to come on this channel. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. As always, I've been your world champion. I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.